Hello there, be welcome to my channel, and today I want to talk with you guys about some topic. I always say that, but I'm here to record another MDJ video of our series, right? My daily journal. And as you can see, I'm dressed prepared to the June festival that occur that happens here in Brazil, and my city is very no because this June festival that happens here, and I don't know if you guys can hear, but my neighbor is putting some music, so it's just fun. And in today's video, it's June festival, but I want to talk about something that doesn't have nothing correlated with. That is that I'm thinking of, and probably I shall start writing, right? So I want to talk about writing and the benefits that you can take from it. Let's see. So, as I said to you guys, I already started to read Don Quixote de la Mancha, and I'm almost finished it. So I will be there with the book finished soon. Maybe today or tomorrow I will finish the book. And this book, it's just awesome. I will record more videos about it because I really like this book and the way that Cervantes write it. Right, so I wanna share like this book gave me inspiration that I was searching for, because I already have a lot of ideas to write things in mind, and I want to write, you know. I already wrote a book about, like, it's a story that is basically all poems, a series of poems in my book. So I never published it, so just saying, but I already have a book, and I did this when I was younger than I'm now, and it was a very joyful experience. But I have a lot of ideas in mind, but I have an intrinsic difficulties, bro, to put in practice it. I have a lot of ideas, but when it's time to put those ideas in practice, I every time almost I fail. So I'm thinking of how can I create this, and I want to create a fantasy world with a lot of things that there is in world building, and I want to start and build this world through a story that I'm creating a character to this story, and this character in specific will be a very important character to the world history itself. So I want to start create a book about this guy, and by that I create all the world around. I I already tried to start it before. I even start to create some natural callings, and I didn't like of the result. So I shall start again to create, and I think that this will be a very good experience indeed. But what integrated me most is this way that the human mind works, right? Because we are able to create some universe that doesn't exist in real life. And as I already said this to you guys about how a writer can create a universe that doesn't exist in the real world, and we can get into this universe. I talked about this in my last video, and it's just a wonderful thing for me. I really appreciate how good authors can create universes with a lot of deepness and really be good at it in such a way that the universe that he create makes sense, like in intrinsically makes sense, even though doesn't exist in the real world. And those like Tolkien and Lewis, C.S. Lewis, and I don't know, Chesterton, those guys are able to create a fantasy world. What is uh, even more incredible. I'm speechless because you, guys, you can imagine create the whole universe by your mind. Those guys are able to at least simulate some universe and present this to you in such a way that a lot of people read that story and they like it. And even more with Tolkien, right? He created 3 or 4 languages that didn't exist until him, and that that was genius. That is unbelievable. He created a language from nothing, and this language, I mean, not for nothing, but he catch some things right there and some words, but you know what I mean. The way that he created this language is just awesome. In a point that there is a lot of people who wants to learn that language, and I'm talking here every time I talk here about language and reading and stuff. So actually, this channel is more about linguistics than everything I speak. Speak it through time far more about linguistics, I think, than all rest. But this is the point. I will start to writing, and that's what I'm aiming for. I want to start the this world building through my story and the story of this character that will be the most important character in the world history. And I do not want just create country, a fictional country or that type of thing. I am really ambitious. I want to create a whole solar system, or kind of a stellar system with 10 planets and a star, and each planet with its own like characteristics, and word the word that will be people, like there will be people there. I want to create with deepness. I'm aiming for deepness. And what are the benefits from write? You can ask me that, and it's a pretty good question. What write what writing can bring us authors? What is the point of the authors that create a lot of books? Some of them just want to gain money. And I will say that is not a very effective way to get money. In today's day, if you want to get money, probably create a whole world and put really effort into it is not the optimal way to do that. But it's a very interesting way that you see a lot of people in the world are creating his own world. You see that we are capable to create this reality by our hands, and that's what i'm I'm most like I most admire in the world build in general. And I want to make a fantasy world, to build this fantasy world, but the right in fantasy and other styles of writing is its own. It's by itself. Even if you don't create some creatures and some, I don't know, species as Tolkien did, even though if you didn't that, you are creating a universe, as I said. And this act of create first obviously helps with creativity. You are able to exercise your mind doing a very creativity activity, if that makes sense. And you are really putting effort into it. If you are doing the right thing and trying to properly build the world, you are putting your effort into this world, and that's awesome. You are being dedicated to that thing in specific, and that's what make the authors really got into what they do. And when you write something, you, whatever you want or not, are delivering a message through your text, right? I'm as an author, even though if I'm not one to other people's reading, I'm writing for someone to read, even if it's myself. But at the point that I'm writing and I'm reading what I'm writing, I'm being reader myself of what I'm writing, and that's the point. You create stories by other people read and look at it and say, oh, that's a very good story indeed, and I really like it. And this power in the hands of authors should be used with cautiousness and really playing, like, should be give it to it a real attention and a close attention to it. So you have this power to communicate your message to the world, and through that you are able to share your opinions by some topic. You know, there is those guys who write non-fictional books that they give their opinions, and by opinions I mean in the broader context that you can imagine. I'm talking about arguments and ideas and all this type of stuff. The guys who write non-fictional books are able to do this in a more clear and palpable. I'm using this word, but I don't know if it is existing in English, because there is in Portuguese a word for that. But never mind. They can create in a very direct way. So I'm saying what I'm thinking, and you as a reader can thinking of it and agree with me or disagree with me. When some the video got interrupted, I don't know what it's happened. I received some call right here, and the video just finished. So let's continue it. As I'm saying, when a fictional author create its story, they do not want to speak to you directly. They do not want to say to you what you should believe and what you should think. They want to show you in a very passive way. And when I mean passive, it's not actually passive, but as a fictional author, I'm able to communicate my message without properly talking about the message itself, without talk about what I'm defending, what I believe, what I think that is right. And that is the power of fictional books and literature, because you are able to talk about this, talk about some message, talk about some things that we want to talk without properly talking about it. So let's say let's give an example. I've not read fantasy books, but what Cervantes wants to pass, what is the message that Cervantes wants to pass with Don Quixote? What is it? Could be a lot of things. I mean, we can interpret that with some glasses, and by glasses I'm talking metaphorically, but we can understand the Don Quixote book in very different ways, very different ways. We can agree or disagree what was the goal of Cervantes, but the point is that he created personage, a character, and a very characteristic character. I'm talking weird today. But he created this character and give to it some characteristics that is very distinct of others. And through this, he showed it to us our this word, and showing that to us, he was able to communicate the message. Even if we are not paying close attention to it, to the message, we are unconsciousness learn the message. Even if we are not conscious about it, we are learn, or at least receive, the message that Cervantes or any other author wants to say to us. And that's what makes me think most of writing. I want to write and I want to make this world building, and it is that. I'm thinking really hard for it. I'm think of this in like some moments. I'm just walking and thinking about this. Is getting a real big space in my mind, but I shall start writing. So I see you all soon, probably. So bye.